Hi, welcome to Sumery P. Today on What's for Dinner, I'm going to share what we're having for dinner tonight, which is my homemade bean burger. It's delicious. We think it's better than our favourite bean burger from GBK here in the UK, and it doesn't take that long to prepare. So let's get started. So the first step is I've rinsed a can of black beans and a can of lentils, and I've just got half the tin of the green lentils in here, and I just mash it up. I don't even use a blender or a food processor. So I just mash it with my potato masher. And this recipe makes about 8 to 9 veggie patties or bean patties, and they last for about 3 months in the freezer. So we will eat 2 tonight and I'll freeze the rest, and then they're just great to have on standby when you want to have kind of like a naughty takeaway at home, but you don't want to do Deliveroo. Okay, I think they're mushy enough. So they don't have to be perfectly mushy. So then we just throw all of the other ingredients into this bowl. And I've got them all sitting here ready and waiting. So I've got my list here of what we've got. So we've got 100 grams of oats. So they're just the large rolled oats. So that's in there. And then the next thing we've got is some breadcrumbs. So I just got some ready-made breadcrumbs, 10 grams. Well, that's roughly 2 tablespoons. I've got some flour. I'm just using spelt flour. So we've got 4 tablespoons of flour. And just for convenience, I'm doing 2 teaspoons of garlic powder and 2 teaspoons of onion granules. You can use fresh onions and fresh garlic, but this way is super simple and quick. In here, I've got a teaspoon of salt, pinch of cayenne pepper and some chili flakes. And you can add less or more of those seasonings to taste. I've got some tamari or gluten-free soya sauce. So there's 4 tablespoons in there. I've got some seeded French mustard just for a bit of zing. I've got some ground flaxseed, 2 tablespoons. And I just like adding that because it gives it an extra binding agent instead of adding an egg. And it's great because this is also vegan friendly. I've got nutritional yeast, which is something that if you're following a vegan diet, you'll know all about it. It's high in B12. So it's like a pretend Parmesan cheese. But if you don't have that, it's optional. You can leave that out. I've got some stock powder here. I've got some stock liquid. So I just had a stock cube and I added boiling water to it. So I've got 6 tablespoons there. So that's my liquid. And I've got a little packet of miso soup. So I'm just adding that packet in, which is about 1 tablespoon. And that's also optional. There's a few other things, like if you didn't have nutritional yeast or miso, you kind of want to get that umami flavour, if that's how you say it right. And so you can add Vegemite or Marmite or anything like that. So we're just trying to mash all that together. But we've made this, I think I make this every other week, and we've been making it all through lockdown. So for about 12 months now, and it's our go-to. I'm just going to throw in that other half a tin of lentils. I did try this with white beans as well as the black beans, but it didn't turn out as good. So I went back to doing the green lentils. So this is our patty mix now. What I like to do now is rest it in the fridge. So we'll rest it there for 30 minutes. Ideally, it's best if you can do it overnight, but I'll just pop this in for 30 minutes and then I'll show you how I make my bean patties. That's what it looks like. So we're back with our bean burgers, and I've had my mix resting in the fridge for half an hour. So now it's time to make our patties. So I'm going to make 2 90-gram patties for dinner tonight. So I'm just grabbing my ice cream scoop. I think it's about 2 scoops. Yeah, it's about 2 scoops of your ice cream scoop. I'll just mash it together, squeeze it in my hand, and I've got some breadcrumbs on this plate here. So I'm just tossing it in some of the breadcrumbs. So I'm just forming like a flat disc, where if you didn't want to put in breadcrumbs, you can put in some flour. So those 2 I'll keep aside and we'll cook them later on. Now to store them in the freezer, I use these takeaway containers, and I've just got some paper that I'll put in between. And as I said, I store them in my freezer for about They can store for 3 months, but they never last 3 months. If we have them once a week or once every second week, they tend to last us about 4 weeks, just depending how many you're cooking for. So I'm going to add a little bit more top and the bottom, pop that in this container. And then when you go to cook them after they've been frozen, you take them out, but you cook them frozen, and they just take a little bit longer to cook, but it's better that way, they keep their shape. Now, if you wanted to weigh it each time, just use your scales each time. But my scales are running out of batteries. I need to change the battery. I'm going to pop a little bit of paper on top, and then we'll cover those. Okay, that's all done. I'm going to go away and clean up, and then the next step is I show you how we cook them. Just before I go, pop the lids on, and I store my leftovers in the freezer like this. So we're back with our bean burgers. I've made some spelt bread rolls here, so they're just cooling down, and I've got my bean burger patties that I've had in the fridge. So I've just heated up some oil here. So I'm going to place them in gently. So I've had the oil heating up for about 5 minutes, and I'm using sunflower oil. So we roughly do about 3 to 5 minutes on the first side. So I just squish it down a little bit. And then if you're doing them from the frozen state, they might take a bit longer. And then we just like keeping it simple. We put American mustard, ketchup, and cheese, and that's it. And I've just got a few leaves on the side just to make it look pretty. So how about I put a timer on? Hey Siri, set a timer for 5 minutes. And every now and then just check the bottom is not sticking. But what we're trying to do is get the outside edge of the burger really crunchy. That's how we like it. And I'll pop a link up above to my spelt buns and my brioche buns, so you can make your own hamburger buns at home. If not, you can just buy some, but they're just delicious made at home. Just a little bit of my ballet routine. Okay, let's grab a knife. I'm going to have a little one. I've got some here with, I put Nigella seeds, which are like, they look like black sesame seeds. And I'm rushing this a little bit. They should cool down for a bit longer. I want a little bit of a smaller burger today, and I've got a larger one for the other half. Now you can toast these, but because they're fresh out of the oven, I'm just leaving them warm because they're still actually a little bit hot. And then what I'll do with the rest of the buns, I've got all these other buns here. Once they cool down, I just wrap them in plastic wrap and pop them in the freezer, and then I can take them out when I want to cook my other burger patties, and they still taste delicious. How are we going for time? 2 minutes to go. Let's check the bottom. So this induction hob's quite hot, and I've got it on a P3 setting, which is kind of like medium to high. Giving it another little squish before I flip it, because we're almost ready to flip. Okay, I think we can start. Thanks, Siri. Start flipping. So look at that, lovely and golden brown. And I've got some pre-sliced cheese here. So what we'll do is just, we're going to add some cheese to the top. I think I cut too much cheese and that's splashing at me. So I'm just going to pop that down one little bit. A little bit extra cheese there. So to help melt the cheese, I just pop the lid on, or you can pop it back into the oven. So I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes this time. They don't take as long on this side. So we just want to make sure the cheese is all melted. So while the burgers are cooking, grab your mustard, if you're going to do mustard, and I do it McDonald's style. I put the mustard on first. There's our timer, because I worked at McDonald's for a few years when I was a kid. That's cool. And then we do the ketchup, or the tomato sauce, just do a drizzle of that. And that's on what they call the heel, the base of the bun. And then we just check this. But I think we need, the cheese isn't melted, so I'm going to just give it another minute and then we're almost done. And if you like what you've seen today, hit the thumbs up. and consider subscribing. I'm doing 3 videos a week and I'm trying to do one what's for dinner so I can share what I eat for dinner with you. And they're often quick ideas and mainly vegetarian. We're mainly eating vegetarian now. And then I do some baking, mainly with spelt and buckwheat flours, and some other interesting ideas. 28 seconds, I think we'll turn that off. They're looking very good. The other thing you could do if you're reheating your buns, you can cut it open and you can pop, when you're cooking the second side, you can pop the cheese on and then put it in the oven for about 10 minutes, and that way you can get your buns a little bit toasted and you melt your cheese. I'll top it off, but I'm not going to eat in front of you. I'm going to go away and eat it off camera. So check that out. How good does that look? I can't take that off anymore. Doesn't it look like you've just bought it from like a restaurant? These taste delicious, so I hope you try this at home and let me know in the comments below if you do. And I'll pop the recipe up above for the spelt bun and the brioche buns, and give this a try and let me know how you go. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye. Gonna go away and have dinner.